Water is life. This phrase has been said by many environmental activists in the struggle against extractivism. My name is Angelina, and today I will be reviewing the book The Water Defenders: How Ordinary People Saved a Country from Corporate Greed by Robin Broad and John Cavanagh. The Water Defenders tells the story of how individuals from a small community in El Salvador fought against mining in their country and won. This, of course, did not happen without challenges along the way. Early on in the book, we're introduced to Marcelo Rivera. Marcelo was an environmental activist and water defender. He was very outspoken and led many environmental marches. Marcelo disappeared in the summer of 2009. His body was later found in a nearby well, 30 meters deep, disfigured and with signs of extensive torture. Marcelo had been brutally tortured and killed. How does the story begin? It began several years before Marcelo's disappearance in 2002 in the Cabañas department of El Salvador, when a group of men in white suits showed up to the small community and tried to convince the people that mining would be a good thing for them and their community. Many of the community members were poor, so some of them saw this as possibly being a good thing for them. It was originally thought that this could help solve employment problems and help the community to overcome poverty, but there were also others who saw the danger in this. Mining was first brought to El Salvador over a century earlier. There had been a mining site located in Marcelo's hometown, known as El Dorado. The mine had been dormant for several years. This mine interested Thomas Shrake, the CEO of the Vancouver-based company Pacific Rim Mining Corporation, and soon enough, Shrake hopped on a plane to El Salvador. We could not help but wonder, did Shrake and the rest of them, as did we, breathe a sigh of relief as they escaped the traffic and heat of the congested San Salvador streets and entered the fresh mountain air of the north? As they drove on, did they stop to gaze at the streams and rivers that flow north and east into the mighty Lempa River, Central America's third longest, the lifeblood and lifeline of this country? Or did they focus only on the rock formations they passed, mentally calculating the mineral wealth that lay beneath? We're soon introduced to Vitalina Morales. Vitalina is also an environmental activist and worked alongside Marcelo and his brother Miguel. Marcelo, Miguel, Vitalina, and other water defenders were already working towards protecting the water by the time that the men in white suits had arrived, but they hadn't yet focused on the issue of mining. But once they knew what was happening, they all fought against metallic mining because they knew the damaging effects. There are many damaging effects when it comes to metallic mining, such as the contamination of water sources, high rates of cancer, damage to agriculture and fishing areas, forced evictions, and the breakdown of indigenous and rural communities. Both Miguel and Vitalina ended up working at the Association for Economic and Social Development, ADES. This organization is central to educating farmers about organic agriculture. It was Marcelo, though, that first brought mining to ADES' attention. At the end of 2004, the decision was made and ADES would take up mining. It was then that Pacific Rim began to offer thousands of dollars to ADES. They would also offer blank checks and bribe them in any way that they could. ADES declined and turned down all of it. How does the story end? A group of environmental activists from a small Salvadoran community up against a multinational mining corporation. Victory would seem very unlikely. However, in the end, the people won. In 2017, El Salvador became the first country to ban metallic mining. But still, one question remains. Who killed Marcelo? Marcelo's killers have still not been identified, and his murder is very reminiscent of the many murders of water and land defenders that are still ongoing in Latin America today. As the authors point out, over 1,700 environmental defenders have been killed across 50 countries, between 2002 and 2018. The Water Defenders highlights the importance of learning about the lives and work of water and land defenders everywhere. Learning about the past is important, but it's also important to know that these struggles are still ongoing today. In Latin America, land and water defenders are targeted daily for simply protecting the earth and its resources. Just last year, countless indigenous leaders and water protectors were murdered. Even though El Salvador made history as becoming the first country to ban metallic mining in 2017, five water defenders, known as the Santa Marta Five, who were instrumental in El Salvador's anti mining campaign, are now facing persecution by El Salvador's current administration. The targeting of water protectors is an ongoing struggle in all of Latin America. I would recommend this book to anyone who is interested in learning about environmental struggles in Latin America.